Hey guys, welcome to TCR. Sid here. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Today I want to go over some egg basics with you. When you raise your own chickens, you get really used to farm fresh eggs, but there's a few things that come up when you have farm fresh eggs that you're getting directly from your own birds that some people either are not aware of or maybe don't know the reasons behind it. The egg has what's called a bloom on it, which is essentially a protective coating that the hen puts on the egg right before she lays it. What this does is it keeps the air out of the pores of the shell, and it keeps bacteria and air from getting into the shell and essentially making it rot. So if you can keep the bloom on that egg, you can keep that egg much fresher and much tastier for longer. I know some people go, oh, that's gross, it came out of a chicken's butt, you should wash it. Well, you're not eating the shell, right? And if you get to be a skilled cracker, you don't really have to worry about the shell getting into that. Or you could wash it right before you're going to crack it. That's always an option as well. If you're going to have farm fresh eggs, don't wash them. It's gonna keep them fresher longer. So those farm fresh eggs that you haven't washed, you can leave them on your counter for anywhere between 2 weeks to a month. Now, this is gonna depend because room temperature can vary. Room temperature is supposed to be around, 72 to 74 degrees, but in the summer your house may be hotter, in the winter your house may be colder. I tend to leave my eggs on the counter a little bit longer in the winter and not as long in the summer for obvious reasons. You don't want to cook your eggs on your counter, right? So again, keeping them unwashed, and a good rule of thumb is after a couple of weeks, if they're still sitting on your counter and you haven't eaten them, go ahead and stick them in your fridge. In your fridge, unwashed, they'll last for like 2 to 3 months. Another question I get asked a lot is, why are there blood spots in my yolk? Well, they're perfectly fine to eat. A lot of people worry about that. They're like, oh my God, there's blood in the eggs. Is it okay to eat it? Totally fine. All it is a little ruptured membrane vessel in there that causes a little blood spot. And if the egg were to be fertilized and to be incubated, that's part of what would develop into the vein network for the embryo of the chicken, duck, turkey, fill in the blank bird. But it's perfectly fine to eat them. It's not going to hurt you. You won't even taste it. It's not a big deal. Another question I get asked a lot is it okay to eat fertilized eggs? The answer is yes, you can definitely eat fertilized eggs. I keep roosters with my girls. That's not a problem. All their eggs, you presume, are going to be fertilized, and you can tell. I've done a video on that before on how you can tell if an egg is fertilized when you crack it. That kind of gives you an idea of your fertility rate among your girls as well, with your girls to boys. But the thing to keep in mind is if your eggs are fertilized, don't leave them on the counter too long in too warm of a temperature because they will start to develop. Make sure that if they're fertilized, that they have not been incubated at all by any of your birds. Make sure you're collecting your eggs fresh every day, sometimes twice a day in the summer when they're laying like crazy. You don't want them to start to develop in the shell so that you crack the egg and get a surprise. That would not be advisable. We wouldn't recommend eating that egg. But fertilized eggs, if they are fresh and have not started to develop beyond the fact that they are indeed fertilized, and that's just like a small little white dot that you see on the yolk, if they're only at that point, totally fine to eat. It's not hurting anybody, no damage done, you're good to go. Enjoy your fertilized eggs. Sounds like a bad bar joke. Like, how do you like your eggs? Sunny side up, scrambled, or fertilized? But no, they're totally fine to eat. People always want to know how you can tell if your eggs are fresh or not if you've kind of lost track of when they were from. How long have they been sitting on the counter? How long have these been in the back of the fridge? There's a simple test you can do, and it's the float test. Basically what it's going to tell you is how much air is inside the egg. Have those pores been penetrated? Has the coating worn off? And there's been air that's gotten into the egg that will make it not taste as fresh and could potentially have bacteria in it. If you put the egg in water, make sure your bowl is deep enough, has enough water in it that you'll be able to tell if your egg is floating or sinking. If the egg egg sinks to the bottom right away, it's totally fresh. If the egg sits up on one end or one end is slightly floating a little bit, it's still okay to eat, not as fresh, won't maybe taste as good, but still perfectly fine. If the egg immediately floats to the surface, toss that one to the pigs. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and have an egg-cellent day. Did you see what I did there? Yeah, I did.